I'm Jody.
Together we're Springhill Beef Co.
We're located at Mount Rivers in the Hunter Valley, 15 kilometres from Gresford.
So we run Angus breeders, we stud Angus bulls, and then we finish our Angus weaners for our direct market.
So our vision all along was to get out of our previous business and to be full-time farmers. And being first-gen farmers, we had to really look at the best ways to make money out of the farm.
So we bought Springhill in 2016. It was a bare block, and I think we started in drought in 2018. It was one of the worst droughts in memory of any locals. It was probably as bad as they get. So when we bought the place, we wanted to improve it. We wanted to have, nice healthy pastures. And we took on the advice of agronomists, and that was basically to spray out paddocks using chemicals, like so crops, and then fertilise them with chemical fertilisers. We did that for a couple of years, and then myself and Jody were walking through the paddock one day, and Jody was just kicking the dirt, and she said, "It's grey, it's dead." We started getting into the soil, and there was just no life. There was no soil, it was just dirt. And Jody just said, "There's got to be a better way. Like, what are we doing here? How do we build soil, build life in the soil?" So yeah, then we started investigating what other options there were, what sort of practices there were, and started implementing and trialling different things. So we started with an introduction to holistic management with Brian Wahlberg. It was a 2-day course, and a lot of the practices he was teaching made a lot of sense. My grandparents had dairy farms, so they were always moving cattle, they always had high density stocking, and they utilised the land to the best they could to get the most out of it. So a lot of the practices made sense. So the first thing we did was subdivided the paddocks up. When we bought the place, it was 3 paddocks and a shed here when we moved here. There's now 37 paddocks. Most paddocks are around 2 hectares in size, with sort of semi-permanent electric fencing that we can then split off again with electric reels. So what that does is we can get more animal impact on a smaller area, and we can also utilise the feed better. Benefits are the cattle, they'll trample it, they'll eat it, they'll manure on it. So yeah, it just sort of stimulates the biology. Going into that drought, I reckon we got months more out of our paddocks before we had to destock, just by utilising everything we had there. And then through our training, we realised that we needed to destock and take pressure off the land. We were carting water over here to the calves that we were feeding, and that was a daily thing. So coming out of that drought, we then implemented water infrastructure through the whole property. Every paddock's got a concrete water trough, so that's piped from either the river, we pump out of a dam up to a header tank, and then that gravity feeds down to all our troughs. So half of our property we did sort of during the drought. That was all funded by ourselves. And then coming out of the drought, there was a grant. So we got funding for this side of the paddock where local land service paid, I think it was about 50% of the actual cost. And then we did all the labour to put it all in. The benefits we've seen have been varied. We've seen better pasture species come into our paddocks now. So it's a better succession of plants growing through now. More feed, so we've got a higher carrying capacity. When we bought the place, it had always ran 60 cows and calves. We now run around 100 cows and calves, plus we grow out our own cattle for the shop, so a significant increase. Water retention, it seems to hold on a lot better than a lot of the other properties. Healthier cattle, better soil life. You dig the soil up now and there's life in it. When we first came here, what we were sowing was it was just a rye and oats crop, I suppose. It fills that winter feed gap. We've now transitioned into multi-species permanent pastures. We didn't want to be sowing every year. We don't spray, so we no-till drill straight into the paddock that's already there. We use grazing management to graze it down and then sow straight in there. We've got our own seed mix that we've made up, which is untreated seed, and it's generally anywhere from 12 to 18 species of seed, to get a lot of diversity in our seed mixes. And then we coat our seed with generally a worm juice, and we sow that straight into the soil. So what we're doing here is we're just coating our multi-species seed mix. Well, this is a worm juice. So what that does is it adds biology to the seed and also the nutrients it needs to get a good start. So when we first started sowing multi-species pastures, we did trials across all our paddocks. Some were done full conventional, so chemical synthetic fertilisers. Then some was done fully biologically, so no chemical, no synthetic fertilisers. What we found was, while the multi-species pastures that were only done biologically, the crop wasn't probably quite as good as the fully conventional one in the first season, but we didn't get the insect attack. And then every year after that, we've just found better and better results from that biologically treated seed. The other thing we found was, to get the same sort of results, we're having to put more and more synthetics on. Whereas with the biological fertilisers, we're finding the opposite. It's longer lasting and we're putting less on over the whole place. So there's a big financial benefit to that as well. The only thing we could put that down to was the biology was working. And that, to us, again, was a trigger that there's something here that works. Let's dig a little deeper and go again. So the next year we sowed the whole place in that way. And then we've found every year it's got better and better. There's also been the animal health. So we've seen our animal health increase since using these practices. Predominantly, we noticed, especially the last couple of years when it was very wet, there was a lot of people having foot problems with their cattle around this area. Local lands were even putting out notifications to keep an eye on your cattle and stuff like that. We had maybe 2-3 days, cattle with 3-day sickness. So we can only put that down again to our practice change. Another important step in our journey was we took part in the Farm Business Resilience program, and that gave us a coach that we worked with every two weeks, myself and Jody. To us, that was a big game changer. It gave us the tools to be able to forward plan and budget and make better informed decisions. And especially going into this drought, you know, we've already forecasted our spending and all that sort of stuff. So it takes a big pressure off your shoulders. If you've put it on paper, you can see what it's going to cost you.
Without a doubt, without Stuart helping us and the whole program, he gave us the confidence, the tools to make the decision to go full time.
Another outcome from the Business Resilience program was that we purchased a butcher shop, and the idea around that was to try and give us a better buffer in these fluctuating seasons. So cattle market is fluctuating every day pretty well. The local retail market is a lot more stable. So that gives us the confidence to sort of budget forward, knowing what we're going to get for our product rather than sort of hoping by the time we're selling what we're selling, we're going to get what we need sort of thing. So yeah, it gives us the better ability to work with what we've got.
I love talking to the customers about what we're doing. We really like to be honest with how we farm, transparent about our practices. There's not a whole lot we can do to control the weather, so it's more just about controlling what we're doing on the farm. I think we're making the best decisions now to, once the drought ends, once the rain comes, that the paddocks will bounce back and we will have the green knee-high feed again like we did a year ago.
G'day guys, over the last few weeks we've received just over 150 mil, and as you can see over my shoulder, our pastures have responded incredibly. It won't be long and the cattle will be able to chew this paddock off. All the hard work's really paying off.
We're going into this drought a hell of a lot more confident than we were last time. The message that I would give to other farmers is to keep an open mind and try new things. Put them into practice and see if they work on your landscapes. There's plenty of options, so explore them, try them, keep an open mind.
Just makes sense to me. For us, it suits who we are, our personality, and what we wanted to get out of farming. But if we stop and stand back on what we have achieved in the last 10 years, like, we're really proud of what we've done and happy that our kids are growing up in this environment as well.